Authorities in Iceland are warning people to stay away from an erupting volcano. Flows of lava and dangerous gases started on Monday. A main airport in the capital, Reykjavik, isn't far away, but there have been no flight disruptions so far. Let's speak to Gunnar Gunnarsson, who's a photographer and an explorer. He's joining us from Iceland's capital, Reykjavik. Welcome to the Al Jazeera News Hour. So how are residents, including yourself, coping with the ongoing eruptions, and what are you being advised to do?
Thank you so much. So far, everyone is coping pretty well, I would say. I think the eruption is dividing the camps a little bit. There's like one camp of people who are really excited that there's another eruption and who are rushing to go see it. And then there's another camp of people who are like, oh, no, not again. And of course, it is not like there are, of course, some inconveniences, like there's been a lot of earthquakes and things like that. So some people have been like a little bit uncomfortable with that. But most people are quite excited about the volcanic eruption. And there's a large number of people who are very excited to go see it. But for the past few days, the weather conditions have been quite unfavorable in terms of going to see it because there's like a long trail you have to take. Right. And right now the wind is blowing a lot of toxic gas and pollution right over the trail. So right now there's a lot of people here in Iceland who are waiting to go to see it. So people are coping pretty well. And so
Tell
far,
us what it's like prior to an eruption. Do you have any idea when it's about to happen?
Somewhat, I would say. So I would say like the last 2 weeks, that's how it's been with this eruption and the previous 2 ones as well. So this is the third eruption within 3 years. And with each eruption, there's been like a 2 weeks before the start of the eruption where there have been a lot of earthquakes and you really felt the ground shake here. So you're sitting at your home and suddenly you just hear this boom and everything is shaking, which it can be a little bit disturbing. So when that starts, like you really see, okay, something might happen. And of course, they are monitoring this very closely here in Iceland and they're using satellites and all kinds of tools to measure how, like, you can see if the magma is trying to kind of make its way through the crust. So it's quite well monitored. So they were estimating for like a few days that it's going to start anytime. And then all of a sudden, it just kind of kicked off.
Right. And you were mentioning the two eruptions in 2021 and 2022 a moment ago. I mean, what would you put down, or what are you hearing about what officials are saying as to the reasons behind the resurgence of volcanic activity in the past couple of years in that particular area?
So I'm obviously not a geologist, and I'm not like I cannot give a very technical description of that. Yeah. But I will say that this area is an area where there has not been a lot of volcanic activity in the past few hundred years. So nobody was really expecting a volcanic eruption in this area. There are many other volcanoes which were much more likely to erupt. So when it happened in 2021, people were very surprised, and especially because there's the international airport there close by. There's like quite some some villages there and people living not so far. And also even the capital area has been expanding in the direction of the volcanic, where the volcanic activity is happening. So it's quite surprising, I would say, for everyone here in Iceland that this is happening. But now, like that has shifted. So with the eruption that happened in 2021, then they start like it's almost like a new era of eruption has kind of kicked off in this area. So it's expected that we could be entering like a few hundred, like maybe up to a 300-year period where there will be quite frequent volcanic eruptions in this area. But of course, nobody really knows for sure, but that's kind of what they're estimating. So it's quite likely that it's not going to be the last one, and there's going to be more volcanic eruptions in that area.
We thank you so much, Gunnar Gunnarsson, for speaking to us from Reykjavik. Thank you.
No worries, my pleasure.